Good morning, students. Great pleasure to meet you all again. I hope you all have completed your half-yearly exam very well. I am so happy about that. Today we are going to continue the third term. From the third term, we are going to see history, first unit, society and culture in ancient Tamilagam. That's called the Sangam age. In a previous classes, we have studied about other cultures, how the humans lead their life from the nomadic life to settle in a particular place. So, all the things we have already completed in a term 1 and term 2. So, here we are going to see about the Sangam age, society and culture in ancient Tamilagam. What is Sangam? In a Tamil, we have here about the word Sangam. Sangam means where people are gathered here or settled, they are called Sangam. So, in a history, how they are described about Sangam. The word Sangam refers to the association of poets who flourished in the royal patronage of the Pandya kings at Madurai. So, that word used in a Madurai, particularly in a Pandya's dynasties. So, that Sangam refers to association of people who flourish in the royal patronage of the Pandya kings at Madurai. So, Sangam means association of people. So, what's called Sangam literature? So, when people, that poet gather here, so that poet composed that poems collectively, that poems called Sangam literature. Then the period. So how they classify the period? One who gathered, they call the Sangam. So one who composed that poems, that's called Sangam literature. So the period in which these poems were composed is called the Sangam age. So in a Sangam age means we are going to see the three great kings, Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. We will see one by one. So what are the sources of available to understand the Sangam age? See here, the sources are, it's mentioned in your book. Inscriptions, copper plates, coins, megalithic monuments, excavated materials, literary sources, then foreign notice. So these are the things are available to understand the Sangam age. Now we will see one by one. Inscriptions. What are the inscriptions are available to understand the Sangam age? The Hadikupta inscription of King Keralavela of Kalinga. So these inscriptions are available. Then Pugalur, near Karur inscriptions, Pugalur. Then Ashoka edicts 2 and 13. Already we have studied in a term 2. Ashoka's edicts 2 and 3. And inscriptions found at Mangulam, Ayagarmalai and Keelavalavu. So these are the inscriptions are available to understand the Sangam age. The next one is copper plates. What are the copper plates are available? The Velvikudi and Chinnamanur copper plates. Velvikudi and Chinnamanur. These are the copper plates are available to understand the Sangam age. Third one is coins. What are the coins are available? Issued by the Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas and the chieftains of Sangam age. Not only Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas ruled in the Sangam age, other than the chieftains also ruled in this period. So these are the coins are available. Then not only these are the coins, Roman coins are available to understand the Sangam age. The next one is megalithic monuments. Already I said megalithic means it's a big stone. So the big stone monuments also it's available. Where it's located, the burials and hero stones. How they are saying that? Burials and the hero stones. Hero stones means one who fought in the battlefield, one who died that for their places we are found that monuments. The next one is excavated materials. What are the exhibited materials are available? The Adichanallur, Ariyamedu, Kodumanal, Pugar, Korkai, Alagankulam, then Urayur. So in these places we can found that megalithic exhibited materials. The next one is literary sources. What are the literary sources of available? Tolkappiyam. Have you heard about that word Tolkappiyam? It's a Tamil grammar book. It's very, ancient book. So it represents the quality of Tamil language and the culture of Tamil people of the Sangam age. So the Tolkappiyam, it's a very famous Tamil grammar book. It refers to the quality of Tamil language. If you want to see about our Tamil language, we can see the Tolkappiyam. Then Tolkappiyam, then Ettu Togai. Ettu Togai, Pattu Pattu, Padinan Keelkanakku, that collection, Padinan Keelkanakku, that means that collection of 18 poet works. Padinan, that's why they have mentioned Padinan. That 18 poet works. Then Pachinapalai and Madurai Kanji. So these are the literary sources of available to understand about the Sangam age. Not only these are the literary sources, that epic, Manimekalai and Silappadigaram. These are the epics also available. If we see that books, we can easily understand about the Sangam age. How did the people live? What are the things they followed? What are the things they did in the past? We can understand easily from the literary sources. Then last one is foreign notice. So one who came to our ancient Tamilagam, they have written about our Tamil culture. That's called foreign notices. So what are the foreign notices available? The Periplus of Erythraean Sea. Then the Pliny's natural history. Then Pachamali theography. Then Megasthenes Indica, Rajavali, then Mahavamsa and Divavamsa. So these are the foreign notices of available to understand the Sangam age. Then we are going to see about the Sangam age, the time span, Tamilagam, age, culture, polity and dynasties ruled. So now we will see one by one. Time span, if we see the time span means between the 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. So if you want to understand the Sangam age means we can see the 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. Between the period, it's mentioned the Sangam age. Then Tamilagam. So the boundary borders, Vengadam, it is in the north side, Vengadam. Then if you see the south side, Kanyakumari. So between the east and west, it's bounded by the seas, east and west side. If you see our Tamil Nadu here, in a north side, Vengadam, south side, Kanyakumari, then east and west, we can see the seas. This is the boundary of Tamilagam. Then age, Iron Age. We know very well how they calculated the age used on that material. So one who used that iron in this period, that period called Iron Age. The next one is culture, megalithic culture. Megalithic culture means, already I said, they used that big stones for build the houses or any monuments. They are used in big stones. That's called megalithic culture. Then if you see polity, monarchy. What is monarchy? It's ruled by the king. It's ruled by the king. That kingship only called the monarchy. The next one, the dynasties ruled. Which are the dynasties? It's ruled in a Sangam age. Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas. Not only Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas, other than some of the chieftains also ruled in this particular period. So now we are very clear about the Sangam age, the periods and the boundary line, age, culture, everything. Next we are going to see the 3 great kings one by one. First one, Cheras. You know very well that how they are calling the 3 kings, the great kings. So if we see Cheras, who was the famous king in Cheras? If we see many prominent kings ruled in a period. If we see the prominent kings, that Udayan Cheraladan, Imayavarman, Neduman Cheraladan, Cheran Sengutuvan, then Cheral Irumburai. So these are the kings, they were ruled in this particular place. If we compare with all the Chera's king, who was the prominent king? If we see that Cheran Chengutuvan, he was the famous one. So the Tamil word Vendar was used to refer three dynasties. Vendar, how they are used that word? It's referred to the three great dynasties. So namely Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. Then Cheras ruled over the central and north Travancore. So which are the places that Cheras ruled? If we see that Travancore, north and south Travancore, Cochin, then South Malabar and Congo region of the Tamil Nadu. So these are the places Cheras ruled. If we see in the Kerala border, so Cheras ruled the Kerala border and near the Kerala. The next, that Paditru. This is also one of the literary sources, Paditru. If we see that Paditru, it provides the information about the Chera kings. When we read that sources, literary book, we can understand about the Chera kings, Paditru. Then it's known that the Chera king Sengutuvan, already I said, who was the prominent king. Many prominent kings were ruled the period. But if we say particularly that Chengutuvan was the most prominent king in the Chera's period. So Sengutuvan, when he went on a military expedition to North India, he went to there, what is that, ruled in a south side. So he went to rule that North India, he occupied the places also. So he covered more than places in the north side also. Then he brought stones from the Himalayas. So when he went to north side, he brought that stones, big stones from the Himalaya. Why did he bring the stones? To build that temple for Kannaki. You know very well Kannaki. When we have studied about the previous classes, we know Kannaki and Kovalan, they are the famous character in the Silapadiharam. So he brought that stones to build the temple of Kannaki, that epic character from Silapadiharam. So he introduced Patini cult. What is Patini cult? He followed that worship of Patini. So that's why he built the temple for Kannaki. Then the Cheran Chengutuvan's younger brother was Ilango Adigal. Do you know Ilango Adigal? Who was Ilango Adigal? He was also one of the famous poet in a ancient period. What is that? Silapadiharam. He was the author of Silapadiharam. So he was the brother of Cheran Chengutuvan. So another Chera king, Cheral Irumburai. The next king is Chera Irumburai. Then he used coins in his name. So who introduced that coins? Chera Irumburai. He introduced that coins with his name. Then some Chera coins bear their emblem of bow and arrow. If we see the coins, they can see the symbol bow and arrow. It's described that Cheras, because they use that symbol bow and arrow. The next we are going to see about Cholas. Cheras is over. Next we are going to see about Cholas. Who was the famous king in Cholas? Who are the prominent kings in Cholas? We will see. That prominent Chola rulers. First one, Ilancheliyan, Karigal Balaban, then Kojankan, Killi Balaban, Perunar Killi. So these are the kings were famous in a Chola's period. Have you visited that Trichy Kallanai? Do you know who built that Kallanai? That Karigalan, that Karigal Balavan. He called as a Karigalan. He only built that Kallanai. So the Chola kingdom of Sangam period extended up to Vengadam, the Tirupati hills. So he also, Cholas, they also extend their distant east. So he extend his places up to Vengadam, Tirupati hills. Vengadam means this is Tirupati hills. So the Kaveri Delta region remained the central part of the kingdom. If we see Tanjore or Trichy, around the places, the Cholas ruled the places. So it's the central places of the kingdom is Kaveri Delta region. So this area was later known as Chola Mandalam. So that central part of the Kaveri Delta places, it's known as Chola Mandalam. So Karigal Balavan or Karigalan was the most famous of the Chola kings. So when you have read that Kalki novels, Ponniyin Selvan, we can understand about the Cholas periods. So if you are free, once again you can just read that novel. We can understand that previous ancient periods, how did they rule, then what are the things are available in their periods, we can understand. So come to that point. So Karigalan and Karigal Valavan was the most famous of Chola kings. He defeated the combined army of Cheras, Pandyas and the 11 Veli chieftains. So he defeated with the Cholas, defeated with the Cheras and Pandyas and about the 7 Veli chieftains also. Who supposed them at Veni? Where did he defeated that Cheras and Pandyas? In a place of Veni, a small village in a Tanjore region. So in a Veni, the place name Veni, he defeated the Cheras, Pandyas and 7 Veli chieftains in a place Veni, particularly the Tanjore region. So he converted the forest into cultivable lands. So when Karigalan ruled the places, he changed the forest into cultivatable lands. So he built Kallanai. So already I said, who built that Kallanai? Karigalan or Karigal Valavan. He built that Kallanai across the river Kaveri to develop the agriculture. For that only he built that Kallanai for the agriculture purpose. Then the airport Pugar attracted merchants from various regions of the Indian Ocean. So when he ruled the places, that place attract to the other foreign visitors also, other foreign merchants also. In a Pugar port, it was famous port in a Chola's period. Then the Pachinapalai, the poet book in a Padinan Keelkanakku gives elaborate information about the trading activity during the rule of Karigalan. So which are the sources of available to understand the Karigalan, Patinapalai and Padinan Keelkanakku. These are the books are available to understand the rule of Karigalan. Then if we see Kallanai, we know very well, it is in Trichy. So it was a dike built with stones. Dike means it's a wall or dam. So it was a dike built with stones. It was constructed across the Kaveri to divert water throughout the delta region for irrigation. For the irrigation purpose only he built the dam. Then when it was built, Karigalan irrigated an area about 60,000 acres, not only 1 or 2, 60,000 acres he covered. Without the knowledge, compare with the current situation, many engineers are available, they are studying in a most graduated, but compare with these periods, in an ancient period, they are used that stone only, not in a cement or other things, they used only the stone to build that dam. They, what is that? Cover the 60,000 acres. The next, we are going to see Pandyas, the third great king Pandyas. So the Pandyas ruled the present day southern Tamil Nadu. If we see in a southern side, that Madurai, that side, the Pandyas ruled the places. The Pandya kings patronized the Tamil poets and scholars. So they patronized that Pandya king, they patronized that poets and the scholars. So several names of Pandya kings are mentioned in the Sangam literature. If you go through the Sangam literature, it's mentioned many Pandya's rulers' names. Then, if we say particularly that Nedunchellian was the famous ruler in a Pandya's kingdom. Is hailed as the most popular warrior, Nedunchellian. Then he defeated the combined army of Cheras, Cholas and 5 Veli chieftains at Talayalanganam. So when Cholas defeated the Cheras and Pandyas at Veni in a Tanjore region. If we see Pandyas when he defeated the Cheras and Cholas in a Talayalanganam. Okay, then he is praised as the Lord of Korkai. So he praised in a Pandya's period, they praised that Lord of Korkai. So if we see that prominent Pandya's ruler, already we have seen that Cheras and Cholas, now Pandyas, that prominent Pandya's rulers, Nediyon, Nanmaran, Mudugukudumi, Peruvazhuthi, Nedunchellian. So these are the 4 Pandyas are very prominent kings in the Pandya's period. So Pandya country was well known for pearl hunting. In a south side we can see that seas only. So their main occupation is pearl hunting. Then Pandya kings issued many coins. They are also issued that main coins. The coins have elephant on one side, then fish on the another side. If we see the Pandya's coin, we can see one side is a elephant, then another side is a fish. So, Mudukudimi Peruvazhuthi, he is also one of the prominent king in the Pandya's period. He issued the coins to commemorate his performance of many Vedic rituals. So when he issued the coins, he used that his performance of many Vedic rituals. So now we are very clear about Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas, which are the places they ruled, then where did they defeat the other kings, then who were the prominent kings in their particular kingdom. Now we are very clear. In a book, page number 90, that map work is given. Okay, so when you are free, you just see the places, page number 90. Then next, we go to the titles assumed by the Moovendars. How did they assume that Moovendars? If we see Cheras, which are the names they used to call that Cheras? That's the same thing for the Cholas and the Pandyas. If we see Cheras, which are the names they used? Adavan, Kuttuvan, Vanavan, then Irumbarai. So these are the names, one more time, Adavan, Kuttuvan, Vanavan, Irumbarai. If we see Cholas, Chenni, Chembian, Killi, Valavan. These are the names they used to call that Cholas. If we see Pandyas, that Maran, Vazhuthi, Cheriyan, Tennar. So these are the names they used to call the Pandyas. The next important thing is royal insignia. What is insignia? That means it's a symbol of powers. Which are the symbols they use? If we see royal insignia, which are the symbols they use? If we see Cheras, now we go to the now we are going to see Garland, port, capital, and symbols for the great 3 kings. The first, Satri. Satri means coal. So whenever we are seeing that epic movies, we can see how they describe the king. That king used that coal, then drum and the white umbrella. So these are the things they used to describe that kings. That Satri, drum and the white umbrella were used as the symbol of royal authority. Apart from that, which are the symbols they use? If we see Cheras, they use the Kanamra flower. That port is Musri and Tondi. These are the ports to describe the Cheras. Then capital of the place, Vanji and Karo. The symbols, bow and arrow. Then if we go to the Cholas, what garland they use? Fig lover. Fig means that Atti. We are saying in Tamil, Atti. So, fig lover. The port is Pugar. Then capital is Urayur and Pugar. That symbol is tiger. Then next, if we go to Pandyas, that garland is Margosa. Margosa means that neem. That neem flowers they use. Pandyas, they use that Margosa flower. Then that port is Korkai. Then capital is Madurai. Symbol is two fish. So, we are going to see already we see that royal insignia. The next, we are going to see, apart from the three kings, which are the chieftains are famous in a Sangam age. Already I said, many chieftains rule that Sangam age. Okay. Which are the chieftains? That minor chieftains are Ai, Veli and Kilar. Ai, Veli and Kilar. These are the minor chieftains also ruled in this Sangam age. Then apart from three great kings, there were several brave independent minor chieftains. Their name Ai. How that word is derived? If we see Ai, that means it's derived from the Iyer. Iyer means one who used that, one who called the shepherd. That's called Iyer. From that only they got the name Ai. So the name Ai is derived from the ancient Tamil word Iyer. That means shepherd. Among Ai chiefs of Sangam age, which are the chieftains Ais are famous? That Andiran, Tridian and Nannan. They were the important names. What are the names? Andiran, Tridian, then Nannan. These are the names of famous or important names in Ai. The next one is Veli. Now we are calling Vellalar. That's called Veli. That Veli is Vellalars. What is that? Constituted the ruling the land owned classes. So one who own that land, they call Velis. So the shepherds call Ai, that owning the land, they call Velis, that's Vellalar. They considered the ruling, that land owning class in the ancient Tamilagam. That famous Velis were, that Ai, we have seen three names. If we see that Velis, the 7 patrons, Kadayelu Vallalgal. If we say in a Tamil word, Kadayelu Vallalgal, if in a 7 patrons, this is also important one, 7 patrons. Which are the 7 patrons is given in a book? Pari, Kari, Ori, Pagan, Ai, Adiyaman, Nalli. So these are the patrons are famous in a Veli. So Kadayelu Vallalgal. They were Pari, Kari, Ori, Pagan, Ai, Adiyaman and Nallai. They were popular for their generous patronage of Tamil poet. So they contributed more things to the Sangam literature. The next one is Kilar. Who called Kilar? That village chief. So if we see in a Sangam age, they rule the places based on the occupation. One who used that cattle rearing or shepherd, they call Ai. One who used that land owning, they call Velit. Then one who used that village chief, they call that Kilar. The next we are going to see that Sangam polity. So we will see in a next session. Okay, thank you students.